out after the first round of playoffs. So I definitely think that they're going to win this game. So moving on to our Saturday afternoon game, we've got the Los Angeles Rams currently a current ranking of 10-6 versus the Seattle Seahawks ranking 12-4. So Luca, who do you think is going to win and why?
I was going back and forth on this, guys, because divisional games in the playoffs, there's two of them that we're going to see. Starting with this one, it's tough because it's the third time you're playing. They split the series in the regular season. We don't know how good Jared Goff's going to be. Jamal Adams says he's going to play. I'm pretty sure he's going to play. So there's a lot of factors going into this game. If the Jets don't beat the Rams, for me, I think they're going to the Super Bowl on the NFC side. I think they were that good. I still trust their defense. I still think they can get the job done and beat Seattle on the road. I just like what Sean McVay's been doing. It's going to be up to Jared Goff coming off his broken thumb. Can he do enough? I'm not saying he has to throw for 500 yards, just to throw for all these touchdowns, because Russell Wilson, we know he can do that. He just has to limit the mistakes. He just can't put his team in harm's way because, yes, that defense is great, but you can all give Russell Wilson a short field to work with. You're just ruining – that just eliminates, all parts of the game, and your success goes down really low if you do that. So Jared Goff just has to play just a decent game. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think he has to just do enough because that defense is so good, guys. I think they can lead them to a win this weekend. I'm going with the upset Rams over Seattle.
Yep. Okay. I hear that. And right now the Seahawks are, 3.5 points. They're the favorite in this game right now. So I can see you taking, the underdog to do this. These guys have faced each other multiple times before this. Like you said, they play each other every year in that division 2 times. And they played 2 times this year. They went 1-1 against each other. So right now we got this rubber match bouncing back for one of these two teams. And especially since it's in the playoffs, it's that more demeaning for both of them, whoever loses. I think because the Seahawks won that last matchup, I think it was 20-9. They're coming off of that. They're saying, you know what, we can beat these guys. They might have shut us down in that first game and how Jalen Ramsey locked off the field for DK Metcalf in that first game. But in that second game, they were able to bounce back and get some things going. So I think they're going to ride off of that. I think what the bigger advantage is that people really aren't picking up on is that home field advantage for Seattle, even though the fans aren't in there. The fans mean so much, but being at home just for the mind of the players in Seattle, knowing that, you know what, we're here in Quest Field, we're playing at home. This is where we're best at. This is where we play good at. We're going to play here and we're going to play hard. I think in their heads, they're feeling that. That's going to propel them a bit more forward. And Russ and the Seahawks offense, you already know they can turn it up whenever they have to. That running game, Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde is coming back healthy now. That double-headed monster there with those two running the ball. It's going to be hard against Aaron Donald on that front. But I think they can still run them over. I love that defense on the Rams. I do. I love what they can do on all aspects of the field. But you know what? I just like the Seahawks that much more, and I trust them that much more. And like you said, if Goff plays, if Goff does that, this man has a broken thumb. I swear Drew Brees broke his thumb once too, and he was out for like 4 weeks. This guy's bouncing back in 2 weeks. That's that young body, right? That young body. But you know what? I don't think he's ready. And if a guy like John Wolford has to be trusted to step into a playoff game and win a playoff game for you, I think he's choking. So just to say that and moving on, you know what? I think it's going to be a close game just because that defense is there, and the Seahawks are going to have to battle. But I think the Seahawks win this one probably 20-17 in that range. I think the other thing you have to look up for the storyline, like you said, Jamal Adams said he's going to play. He's a bit hurt. I don't want to see him take it any further if he doesn't have to. But suppose him or Jared Goff doesn't play, which one of those two is going to be a bigger loss for their team? I think it's Goff, and that's why I think Seattle wins this.
You know what? I'm with Luca on this one too, and it's tough because when we think about playoff time, we kind of want to create these stories of, well, look at what this happened in the past, and maybe this team's going to be the same story. A lot of people have been talking about, the Kansas City Chiefs kind of having this great offense the year before they win the Super Bowl, and they're kind of matching up with that Green Bay Packers team that ended up losing to the New York Giants. People are trying to find all the storylines, and for me, I want to find something like that with the Rams, but I'm just going to stick with my gut. I like them. I like the defense. I think they're good up front. They're good in the back. They have the best corner in football in Jalen Ramsey. And if you guys haven't seen this number, there was a stat that was released by Mike Renner on Twitter. He's really good. He's never allowed, this season, hasn't allowed more than 20 yards in a game. That's incredible. He's faced some talented wide receivers. Again, this is against DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, DeAndre Hopkins, Stephon Diggs, right? Like, he is that darn good. Aaron Donald, enough said. He's the best defender in football. I just trust that defense a lot more than I trust the Seattle Seahawks defense. Russell Wilson, in the beginning of the season, he was MVP. He was on pace to have 65 touchdowns. And he got slower and slower and slower as the year went on. It was like the cooking was a masterpiece and ended up turning that restaurant into a basic Arby's or whatever it was. So for me, I got to stick with the Rams. That's just what my gut is telling me. I would be surprised if the Seahawks ended up winning this game, but I think the Rams and Sean McVay find a way, whether it is Jared Goff or John Wolford. We know he can run the ball a little bit too. He's a little bit speedier outside of the pocket than Jared Goff is. Maybe they're already planning some wild plays along with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and Cam Akers in this offense. So I'll go Rams in a really close, low-scoring game.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's going to be a really close scoring game. However, I do sort of feel like Russell Wilson might want it just a tad more. But yeah, you guys are right. This is going to be like a game within like a point or two to make the difference.